Good afternoon. Warm welcome from Jörg and me for this short insight into Lucerne University. And well, today we want mainly show you what we're doing in applied energy research and why we're doing it. So let's start with the why.
We're really terrified by the climate change. There's temperature all over the place. This will cause a tidal collapse. We have to remove CO2 direct from air. Startups all over the world trying to tackle climate change, but we're not one of them. The problem with trees is that they are growing relatively slow. And we found out if you put microalgae in photobioreactors, they grow like crazy. This was just an idea, and 1 year later, we are already producing real microalgae, taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. I think this will really fast.
So we are one of the 7 applied universities in Switzerland, located in central Switzerland. And I promised to some of you some pictures of the beautiful place we are. So here you see Lake Lucerne, and our campus is right at the lake, and you see the mountains. So we are between the Rigi and the Pilatus. So really nice area, and we are supported by 6 cantons financially, by the Swiss Federation and third parties. So some facts and figures of Lucerne University. We have 6 schools here. I will be mainly talking about the school where I work. So this is engineering and architecture. And there are 4 pillars on, well, main activities, let's say, that we do. One is education, very important. We've heard it. We need engineers, architects, and many more people to help us to cope with the energy transition. And you see, we have around 30 bachelor's and 20 master programs. Continuous education is a very important topic. You see here 12,000 participants we have. Many people in their lives need to have more competences, other competences, because as you know, the world is changing every day. And then there is, of course, research and services, and we're just diving into research now. So these numbers are, oh yeah, and there is the Koppelbrücke for the one who know the Koppelbrücke in Lucerne, of course. So at our department, engineering and architecture, we have around 160 new projects every year, new contracts, and all of them are with industry. So this is what applied means for us. So we have direct impact in practice with the industry on innovation and IP we generate together. We have around 420 researchers in the different fields and about, yeah, what is that? $38 million in revenue in research. And 70% of that is third-party funding. So you have heard already about the strategy, the climate strategy of the Swiss Federation, and it sets high goals for different sectors. So the building sector has to reduce 100% of emissions, industry 90%, mobility, agriculture. So this is like our goal to support this transition with innovation that, yeah, we work on together with partners. So our 5 main topics here are renewable energies, of course, energy efficiency in buildings and industry, sufficiency, which is kind of a difficult topic, which means consuming less of everything, basically. Negative emission technologies, we already heard that we need that too as an element in the energy transition, and of course, circularity. So this is like the whole landscape of our projects in this field or in these fields. And we will take you through these just by mentioning one project per field here. So this is about renewable energy, and it's a collaboration between engineers, architects, and designers. And it's about a challenge we face in Switzerland because we have a lot of buildings that are protected, historical buildings, and we are basically not allowed to put PV on the top, right? So we came up with a color system that can mimic, you see it here maybe, that can mimic a state of a historic building. Maybe you have moss on it or something. And so with this color systematic, where we also have a spin-off now, we are able now to, or we got the permission for the first 2 historic buildings to put PV on. And I hand over to Jörg.
Thank you very much. And we are coming further to when it's around renewable energy. We just heard, so it's a wonderful follow-up to your presentation just before. So as we have heard from Japan, there is 11% of hydropower foreseen. And for Switzerland, it's of course a very important part. Similar to EPFL, we have a huge hydropower research at our institution. And let's say that efficiency of hydropower plants is as high as it today, goes back as well to some point to our institution. And one example which follows what you said before is that there are more and more sediments in the system. So it means you have more and more abrasion of the the turbines, which you see up here. And of course, one is working there a lot with computational efforts, and still here we work on experimental practices. And here the goal is different than we did it before. Before we put sediments into the water and we're running that for a very long time to see how these turbines are changing. But today we are changing that, and we are putting the damages into these turbines directly, and then measure what damages do affect how, and with that can foresee the changes. So that's one approach as we have changed that over the years. Then one other project where we think it's worth sharing and thinking that this could be something where we could collaborate with Japanese colleagues is around data visualization. So as you wonderfully said before, it's so important that we take the responsibility not just as researchers, but as a society, and that we have the people in the board, of course, the politicians, but as well all laypersons. And this we are doing here. We are working a lot with GIS-based models, where we can basically focus on each single house in Switzerland and have our models on the housing. And then with that can build up optimization routines, for example, for communities or for utilities. And we can discuss with the lay people who can look at their house and see what they can do at their house and bring it together. So these are directions where we are happy to share, maybe as well with the Japanese colleagues, if we could work together here. Then one other example where we see possibilities, and in fact, this has been done together with a Japanese company. This was with Cadence Design Systems. It's around CO2, and it's around cavitation with these systems. And CO2 and hydrogen, well, in this case, hydrogen, they behave very differently to water. And there it's very important to understand how these cavitation effects then work. And very often there's done the mistake that one goes too direct, let's say, from how water is understood. And with that, one could, together with Cadence Design Systems in Japan, work on here in this application, especially on the cavitation of hydrogen together with them. So as we have heard from the Japanese community, hydrogen is a big topic. And when we deal with it, then it's very important as well to think of these, when we think in the bigger scale, that we don't forget about the fluid properties and the cavitation effects. Then, in general, we have a big focus on material science, and they're going into storage applications. And on our side, we have a lot on heat storage, a lot of research on heat storage. So storing heat on the one hand for short term, like making water storages much smaller than they are today, and working with other materials, and taking care of the seasonal effect that you have heard now a couple of times, that for us it's so important to cover the seasonal effect from winter to summer and vice versa. And one example, there will be a talk by our colleague Benjamin later together with the company Matica, where there is on the seasonal effect. Great work done, and first parts out. And one other example is one startup from our institute, which is working with so-called phase change materials. So this means they are materials going from solid to liquid and vice versa. And with that, one has water boilers, as they were in the past, big water boilers, and they become 3 to 4 times smaller, and they become quadratic. And with that, they can fit into apartments, they can fit into smaller spaces, where today one has gas, and in the future one will have heat pumps and storages, and with that, they will fit into these apartments. There were meetings already with 2 big Japanese players with this company now the last days. So let's hope that we are flying here over more often. And then at the end, we would like to link you to something which is as well in the brochure here. We would like to invite you around this topic as well to our now already 13th Swiss Symposium Thermal Energy Storage, which is taking place on the 13th of January 2026. So maybe the one or other Japanese colleague can make it. We had Japanese colleagues already there. We had them talking. A good colleague of mine, for example, from Kobe University, came there. And yeah, we had a PhD student from him just now for the last year with us. So with that, I would like to close our talk, and we would be very, very happy when after these days, these meetings, we could foster this collaboration in the one or other topic together with colleagues here from Japan. Thank you very much.